So Steve, before we start talking about Fordham Law, can you tell us about some of the leagues you played in during the summer when you were at NYU? I know Coach Danko, he's Coach Danko to us, I think was your catcher at Power, brought you to a couple of these summer leagues.
Absolutely. Tommy Danko was a great defensive catcher. Helped me a lot at Power. And then I had aged out of all the leagues I was playing in Manhattan and the Bronx. Um, and so he went out to Brooklyn to play in the Parade Grounds League, which to this day is pretty much the most famous summer baseball league in New York City. And I got out there a little later. He was on the high school schedule. I was on the college schedule. Danko, very smart guy, excellent catcher, called a great game. I think he wound up in New Jersey, and he was like a two-time hockey coach of the year in New Jersey. Obviously, a great hockey guy as well. But in any event, took me out to the Parade Grounds League. We played for a team called Youth Service League, which had been apparently not a very good team. But they got the idea, and Danko was one of the key guys for them, I guess, to get some guys from Manhattan to come out to Brooklyn. And I was one of those guys. And I went out there with him. It was a very good league. Lee Mazzilli was playing for Gil Hodges. Gil Hodges was a team. Thankfully, he's finally in the Hall of Fame. Way too late, but better late than never. Willie Randolph had just signed. He had played in the Parade Grounds League. He had just signed with the Yankees. That's kind of the time frame. But the point being, there was some really, really good players there. And when I went out there once again, Danko said this guy's a real good player. He played in college. He's a pitcher. I feel, and they stuck me in left field and they batted me like seventh or eighth the first month I was there. I mean, but I was, again, as a caged animal after playing at NYU and not playing as much as I thought I should have been. And I played out of my mind there, and I don't know, I was hitting like 420, 430. And eventually, after a month, they moved me to batting second and playing center field. And I wound up for the year. I mean, again, it was like a video game number. It was like 430, 440. My OBP was over 600. And finally they saw the light. But we went to a tournament in Altoona that year, which was a mini big deal, and I played well there. But the next year, I got there from the beginning. We were going to Johnstown because that was the best tournament in the Northeast, the tournament in Johnstown. And again, I played out of my mind. I led the league in hitting. I remember Mel Zitter, my coach, saying, Lee Mazzilli was drafted in the first round, but you get the best hitter award, which I still have somewhere. I told my kids when I'm not here, don't throw that trophy out. Keep that one. You can get rid of all the rest. But again, we went to Johnstown, and I played out of my mind. There were a lot of scouts there. The Johnstown Stadium had 10,000 seats. So if you played in the stadium, you played before a few thousand, not 10,000. But there were so many teams there that you played, a lot of off the big stadium path. And I wound up hitting like something like 520. Again, another, maybe 19, 22 at bats. I don't remember exactly. But I played great the whole tournament. We went to the semifinals and got beat by the Baltimore Johnnies, who were loaded with draft picks. I mean, they were really, really good. They were better than us. But the program came out and I finished fifth. I think you needed like double digit at bats, so you can get in with 10 at bats. I had pretty much twice that, but I had, three doubles in the game, and I had 6 RBIs in one game, and I got a hit in the bottom of the ninth off like the number one pick of the Phillies to win the game, like 13-12. They came in for him to seal the deal and didn't work out for him. But it was fantastic. It was a fantastic 2 years. My problem was, I'd go see scouts even then. I was like 5'9", 150, and, all the scouts were bigger than me. It was the same knock always. And, frankly, I never got drafted, one of the big disappointments in my life. And I tell my son, if they had analytics today, if Billy Beane really didn't look at the games, if that's true, that's how they portrayed him in Moneyball. Man, if he just looked at the stats, it would have been different for me. But not complaining, I love when I play. But if you're 5'9", 150, that's great for driving harness horses. It's not so great for being a lefty. I couldn't even play second or short, where historically they had smaller guys. But whatever, not a complaint. Statements of fact. It is what it is. But we won the championship in the Parade Grounds in Brooklyn both years. I don't think they had ever won a championship from Youth Service League. And they also told me when I came back from Johnstown that the only 2 guys who had ever hit 500 in Johnstown from Brooklyn were Joe Torre and Frank Torre. So everybody knows Joe, even Frank. and they were both excellent major leaguers. And it's so funny because many years later, Youth Service League still getting guys from Manhattan. They got a guy from Washington Heights named Manny Ramirez, who was actually a star at George Washington High School. And he went to Johnstown. That's when they finally won Johnstown. And Manny Ramirez hit 600. Again, just to show you more how great these guys were. So after my second year in Brooklyn, I aged out there. But I had played with two Puerto Rican guys from Hell's Kitchen. And they asked me if I wanted to play in the Central Park Hispanic League. They thought they could get one white guy on the team, and they wanted it to be me. So I said, yeah, get me in the league. I'll play. So they got me in the league. I was told it was like AA minor leagues. I don't think it was. But, there was an occasional scout there. I got paid like $50 a game. A guy came over the hill with a brown paper bag with cash and just doled out the money. It was hysterical. But my hitting streak was the whole season. I don't remember how many games, maybe 35. We got beat in the final of the World Series, but that was a pretty good year. I hit 370. I led the league in batting. I played for Cafe Bustelo. So when we go to the supermarket, I show my kids, oh, Cafe Bustelo coffee. Yeah, I play baseball for them. They sponsored the team. And we did get some free coffee, I think, along the way, too. It's funny what you remember. But in any event, after that, I was 22 years old. I was in law school. I was like, what am I going to do now? And I just, essentially relegated myself to playing softball, which was a lot easier than I thought it would be. But, fast pitch and lob, whatever. But yeah, I essentially stopped playing hardball after the Central Park Hispanic League. Didn't really want to go back there. What else am I going to do? So that was kind of the end of it. But yeah, those 3 years in college, into the first year out of college when I was going to law school, that was kind of it for me. A little sad. Love playing baseball. Toughest sport to be good at. Toughest sport to coach. Toughest sport to learn. Toughest sport to watch. Yes, it's too slow. I agree with everybody. But my goodness, it's so much harder to be really good at baseball than pick any other sport you want. Nobody from high school ever goes to the major leagues and does really well. Virtually nobody from college goes right to the major leagues and does really well. And you see what happens in football, all the superstars their first year in the league. You see even in basketball, they used to go right from high school, remember? Now it's one and done. But you're 19 years old, you're in the NBA. People can't do that in baseball. There's a reason Michael Jordan couldn't hit a curveball. There's a reason Jim Thorpe, greatest athlete ever, arguably, was not a very good professional baseball player. And I'll say it forever. It's just, I think it's the best sport. It's the greatest sport. It's the toughest sport. And it's a game of failure. And for kids today, in my mind, not my son, he was a pretty good player, but game of failure, if I fail a lot, I'll go play something else. I'll go do something else. But if you hit 3 out of 10 in baseball, as you know, you're a candidate for batting titles and arguably the Hall of Fame. You hit 30% of your jump shots, you're not in the league. You complete 30% of your passes, you're not in the league. And I think there's something there to analyze because most people think, yeah, baseball is easy to play, but it really isn't. But, my dad was a big baseball guy, as you know, and I loved playing. It was great, but it was tough. It was a game of failure. Still is.